Okay, we're here with Beverly Playfair again, a sexual health worker. We previously spoke to her about HIV and AIDS, and last week it was Sexual Health Week, Women's Sexual Health Week, so we're going to talk about that. Did you participate?
Unfortunately, I didn't. I was HIV testing last week, and it was men and women, so it wasn't specific to women.
Well, Women's Sexual Health Week was about emergency contraception, and I was thinking, what advice would you give to someone that might need it?
Well, sometimes emergency contraception can be referred to as the morning after pill, and a lot of women think they have to get it the morning after, but that's not a fact actually. You can get it up to 72 hours after, so just a reminder to women that it's not actually the morning after pill and you've got 72 hours in which to take it.
Is it recommended to take it sooner rather than later?
Yeah, it's percentage of working is a lot better if you get it within the first 24 hours or 2 days as opposed to the 72-hour mark where it's less effective. Although you can still have a coil fitted if you miss the 72 hours, and you can have that fitted up until 5 days, and that can still work to prevent pregnancy.
So what does the morning after pill do?
So if you think of it as when you take the morning after pill, what it will actually do is it kind of forces you to have a period that you wouldn't normally have. So if it's a week that you haven't had your period, or your period's not due, and then you have unprotected sex, you take the morning after pill, it will force out any eggs that may have become fertilised during the episode of unprotected sex. So effectively it kind of just forces you to have a period which flushes out any eggs.
So a common myth behind the morning after pill is that you can just take it whenever you've had unprotected sex. Is that recommended?
Well, basically what would happen if you went to a sexual health clinic, they would work out what your menstrual cycle is. It can be that you had unprotected sex at the time of the month where you're not at your most fertile, so the likeliness of you becoming pregnant is quite low anyway. However, if you're having sex at a time where you're releasing eggs and you are at your most fertile, then it's a really good idea to take the morning after pill. We do advise that if you find yourself taking it more than 3 times in a month, then you might be better off if you take the regular everyday contraceptive pill, because it can have quite an effect on your body that when you take it, it forces you to have a period, so you can end up having 2 or 3 periods in a month.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is.
So those are 2 forms of contraception for women, the emergency contraception and the one you take every day.
Yeah, so you can take the contraceptive pill every single day. If you're not taking that and you have unprotected sex, or you have sex without a condom, or you in fact miss your regular pill that you're meant to be taking every day, then you can take emergency contraception up to 72 hours and have a coil fitted up to 5 days if you miss the emergency contraception.
Are there any other forms of contraception?
Yeah, there's loads of different forms of contraception. There's the implant, there's an injection that you can get, there's condoms, which female and male condoms, which will protect against pregnancy and STI. That they are the best methods to use. There's various other methods, coils you can have fitted. There's so many methods that really there's no reason for people to get pregnant if they really don't want to.
So how widely available are these to young people?
Very widely available. You can go to family planning clinics, you can go to sexual health clinics through your GP, so there's lots of different ways, and more importantly the methods are free, so you don't have to pay for them.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, not that I plan on, but I wouldn't want to pay for it.
Yeah.
But some young people obviously might not want to tell their parents about it. Can it be strictly confidential?
Generally speaking, the law says you have to be 16 to be sexually active, but when you go into a family planning clinic or sexual health clinic, professionals are allowed to give contraception to young people that are under 16 after doing a risk assessment to make sure that actually they're not being abused or forced to have sex, and that the sex is consenting. It's very important for anyone under 16 and over 16 to give consent to have sex. So the professionals are allowed to administer contraception to people that are under 16, despite what the law says about being sexually active at 16.
What issues do you find with young people using contraception or not using contraception? Like, what's the main issue? Like using it wrong, or?
Well, there are some methods of contraception that has no user failure, which means once you're given that method, such as the implant in your arm or the depot contraceptive injection, those methods have no user failure, which means once you have them, like the implant fitted, it can't fail to stop you getting pregnant. Unlike if you take the contraceptive pill, that has a user failure where if you don't take that pill, then you put your chances of becoming pregnant. You're a lot higher risk. So some methods come with a user failure, which depends upon the user to use the method correctly, and some come without a user failure where once you've got it, it will do the job until you need it replacing.
So do you find that young people, when they use the user failure of contraception, that they tend to forget?
Yeah, they're more likely to come into clinics saying that they've missed their pill and they've had unprotected sex because they've missed their pill. They may have missed it for 2 or 3 days, so they would need a pregnancy test, as opposed to somebody that's got an implant or an injection, where once they've got one of them methods, they don't have to do nothing until the implant runs out, which is 3 years, or the injection, which is about every 12 weeks.
But of course, even if you're using the contraceptive pill that you take every day, you should be using a condom as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, condoms are the only thing that are going to protect you from pregnancy and STIs. So, and as we know, there's some STIs such as HIV. Once you've got it, you can't get rid of it, basically. So,
what are the most commonly asked questions about contraception?
when it comes to things like condoms, how they're used, how do you use them? Lots of people make the mistake of using things like baby oil as a lubricant as opposed to a water-based lubricant, and then the condom splits and they're like, well, I used a condom but it's split. So then when you start asking questions around, well, did you use any kind of lubricants? Oh yeah, I used baby oil or cocoa butter. And then we kind of understand that, well, that's where it all went wrong, because they're oil-based and you're not meant to use them with condoms. So
Why shouldn't you use them with condom?
they react with the condoms, which cause the condoms to split, where water-based doesn't. So we always advise, and we give water-based lubricants at clinic as well. That's what we suggest that you use with condoms.
Okay, well, don't use baby oil if you're having sex with a condom. I think that's all. Is there anything you want to add to that about contraception?
Just again that it's free, and family planning services, we work in a very non-judgmental service, so we don't judge young people when they come in wanting to go on contraception or use condoms. In fact, it's really good that young people can present and ask them sort of things, because they can't, it's not always something they can discuss with parents. So.
Okay, thank you. This has been Beverly Playfair again, a sexual health worker.